What's up everyone? If you've been struggling to win your first solo in Fortnite Season 6, hopefully I can give you my tips on what I use to win my first solo, and then also the tips I will be using going forward to win more solos throughout Season 6. And I wanted to make this video as quickly as possible because I feel like there have been so many changes that have kind of changed the gameplay of Fortnite. They immediately vaulted 5 items to start off the season, so that kind of changed up the weapons that are going down in the game. Then they also made some big changes to the map. They removed the Easter Island heads so there are less rifts going around, and then also they changed up the map when it comes to Loot Lake is now hovering up in the air. That vortex has made for a very interesting gameplay in the center of the map. You also have a castle that is now outside of Haunted Hills, and you also have the bunker accessible in Wailing Woods. So this really impacts landing, which determines rotations and the rest of the game. So we are going to get into all of this and more, and I wanted to say I am showing you guys my first solo, which was a 9-kill victory royale, and I'm also going to show you a 4-kill solo where I played way more conservative, so it kind of represented the players that aren't the best at the game and play a bit slower, so I can cover all my bases. That's everything I wanted to say though, so let's hop into the landing. The first major step I take when it comes to landing is picking a location that will set me up for success the rest of the lobby. So I immediately eliminate all of the hot drops. So you don't want to land at the first major city, the last major city, Tilted Towers, or any of the updated locations. So like Loot Lake, Wailing Woods, and Haunted Hills should all be out of the equation. I really would just not want you guys to do that. If you're playing conservative, try to land somewhere where 2 or fewer people are going to be. And so that's why you see me immediately start to look at the back third of the map. I recommend landing back here because most people get off in the first 2/3 of the map because they are a bit impatient, or they see somewhere they like and don't want to have to wait too much longer. So you will see me pick the location outside of Flesh Factory. I recommend you guys pick locations like this. So the houses outside of Risky Reels, the random broken houses outside of Salty. And I mean, there's just so many great places that just are no-name locations. This is where I recommend you guys go, and that is the first step to making it out, and then we'll talk about the landing and the rotating after that. When it comes to the actual landing, I would really recommend that you continue to scan around whenever you are floating on down. It's just time you're chilling there anyway, so take advantage of it and scope out the competition. And if no one's coming there, great, but if someone is, it's really important that you pick out a guaranteed weapon if you're landing at somewhere that's just discreet. Maybe it's just you and one other person. So if you get that weapon, it gives you a great chance at surviving and taking them out. You don't want to leave it up to the randomness of this game. You don't know what's going to drop where, and that's why it's so big to take the advantage of the opportunities that are put in front of you. And then I'm going to show you a little bit of tilted gameplay here to kind of show you rotations if you do decide to land at a city rather than somewhere really small where there's only a couple houses to loot and then you can get out of the city right away. Thus far, you have seen me make some really smart plays inside of Tilted Towers. I showed you guys the example of me looking around and making sure no one is coming to the same location as me, and if people are, I at least know that I am the lowest one, so I should beeline for whatever weapon is on the ground, and that way you can pick up a very easy kill like I did. Then also you see me clearing out the building right after I clean up the people that are in the near vicinity, and then I look to the next building I'm going to go to for either loot or action, and if there is no one there, then I immediately bolt for high ground like I did. I got up as high as possible, scouted around, weighed my situation, and just made sure to not put myself in unnecessary harm's way. You want to make sure that if you do push something, you aren't going to be pinched, and that's why you saw me always getting the high ground here. That is the best thing you can always do, and then if you ever need to, you can go down lower and hunt people down, but that's what I would really recommend if you land in a city and you're going for that solo. Always make sure that you are scoping around, make sure that you clear out the building, get your weapons and resources in order, and then rotate around the outskirts by obtaining high ground, staying with the high ground, and just weighing every situation before you jump into action. Once you leave the location you landed at, it really is following the same process every single place you go. So you see me going towards the zone and finding the nearest high ground. That's what I always do, is get to the nearest high point and then get whatever loot or resources I can and then start scouting around. So you see me hopping around. I'm just looking for people, and one thing I'm really paying attention for is building. You can really tell how strong a player is if they're just throwing up structures, being very precautious. That would make you a bit wary to push them. I see someone with a mushroom over there, and that makes me want to push this person and kind of feel out what type of player he is. Now, if you're playing even slower than this and you really don't even want to push this fight, then you could just find high ground outside of the city, keep an eye on this person, and that way if you don't want to get in this engagement, you can stay away. But luckily that person was not very good. Then your next process is just continuing to rotate zone to zone. You will see I am rotating around the back side, because if you're paying attention to where that map location is, there should be a lot of people rotating from Tilted and Salty on this side of the map. So you guys really have to pay attention to also where people would be coming in for rotations. This guy starts shooting at me, and I just don't like this situation. I don't like that if I'm playing slow and this guy starts to push me, I don't like that he could build over the top of me. So if you aren't a great builder, which sometimes I have my moments, then you should immediately do what I did right here. Push, get the high ground. That way he can't even build towards you right now. And if he does, you already have a huge vantage point and can shoot out anything he is building. So those are some huge keys right there, guys. Rotate to the high ground. If you find yourself rotating and someone starts shooting at you, pay attention to what the terrain is around you. Try to take advantage of it. Almost play it like it is Call of Duty. And I don't want to compare these two games, but you can't build in that game, and that really makes people use their surroundings to their advantage, so they actually have kind of a better vantage point when it comes to their fights, and it just gives you the best chance at survival. One of the biggest things I forgot to mention in Fortnite Season 6 are the Shadow Stones. They are currently disabled, so that's why you aren't seeing any footage of these items, but they allow you to become almost invisible, and it really allows you to move around the map much more freely, and so you can just rotate the zones nicely. So I would really recommend for any of you guys that are trying to avoid engagements and then can try to take high ground like I've been talking about and getting on top of hills or structures, I would say definitely try to rotate to each one of these spots. You have 45 seconds whenever you activate a Shadow Stone, so rotate to one of the burnt spots by Kevin, activate a Shadow Stone, rotate to the next burnt spot by Kevin, and just continue to follow that process. And then once you use one up and you get high ground you like, you can chill there until you need to move again. So that's something I would really advertise for anyone that's trying to avoid engagements. I'm not trying to promote bush camping here, but if you want to be tactical, these Shadow Stones are definitely one of the best ways to get to new locations without taking damage. To wrap up this video, I hope I didn't just tell you all to camp, because that's not what I'm saying at all. I really just want you all to play more tactical. If you make good decisions, you are going to put yourself in the right spot to succeed in this game and win more solos. And really all the tips I said for the 4-kill win still apply if you want to get more kills. You are still rotating, you are getting high ground, scouting out fights. It just means that whenever you do encounter somebody, you actually engage with them rather than chilling on the outside and kind of camping. So that's the difference I wanted to make sure I stated. But then at the end here, you will see one of the big keys at the very end is if someone takes the high ground from you, don't panic. I think the end game really has to do with decision making. So you see I threw up all these structures. These are all my walls, and that allows me to edit them, which is very big at the end games, because that allows you to get edit peaks and do some damage on people that otherwise thought you couldn't, and even allows you to kind of access somebody if they're hiding in a 1x1 cube. What I did right here though is very smart. Tactical retreat can be absolutely huge, regardless if you're going for high kills or not. These guys end up starting to fight each other, and now I am pinching them rather than being between those two, which is absolutely huge. Now they have to deal with the zone moving in and also each other, and then myself fighting from the outside. One of the biggest keys is just making sure you guys can build that wall ring ramp combo. You have to be able to obtain high ground if you do want to win a solo, and it doesn't have to be really quick, but it has to be quick enough that you can at least build up a little bit to finish someone off with a shotgun like I do right here. That is not complicated at all, guys, and I hope kind of seeing what I'm doing at the end of these games, this helps you see how I go about my gameplay. Positioning is absolutely everything, and if you want to win more games, that is going to be the key to it. That's about everything for my tips though. My inventory didn't change at all. My sensitivity is currently 7x and 6y, and whenever we finally do get that building sensitivity, I will let you guys know how I adjust accordingly. Cole and I are going to try to be as transparent as possible in Season 6 to just give you guys the best opportunities to succeed and just update you on everything that's going on in the current meta of the game. Other than that though, guys, please follow our social medias. Cole and I have been trying to post more on things like Instagram. We've been streaming on Twitch. I'm going to get involved more in streaming as well, so we would really just appreciate anyone that went and supported those platforms. Other than that though, please let me know what you think of Season 6 so far. I definitely think this one needs to be a big one because games like Call of Duty are coming out, and that could take away a few of the player base, and we just want this game to be as successful as possible. So thanks for watching, and I'll see you all in the next video.
Started as a zero, I was chasing dreams, trying to turn into a hero. Sniper rifle, 5 rivals, going for the title. I could be the one that they idol. Ramp rush, climbing stairs, fire here, I'm over there. It's Rodey fam, hit you while we flying.